Hello and welcome back to Bluebell Who Crafts. After these scrappy bauble cards from my last video, I thought I'd make some Christmas tree cards today using the Quilt As You Go method, and they're great for making in batches, so they should be a bit quicker. I've got a strip of wadding and some Morris & Co, well, some of them are, and some others, fabric scraps that I'll be cutting into strips. But first, I'm going to make a template for my tree. So this is the greeting card I'm using, and this is how wide I would want the tree to be. So this comes out as 7.5 centimeters by 9.5, but obviously adjust it to the card that you're using. And then I'm gonna find the midpoint, so 3.5 would be about there. Now I'm going to cut the wadding strip to size, just a little bit larger than our template. Because we've got such an easy template, we can actually cut several trees out of one piece. And then we can do the same again. And then we'll have enough for 8 cards. And this is how Quilt As You Go works. You start off with your first strip, right side facing up, and then you take your second strip and put it right sides together and line it up. If you don't want a straight line, you can add it as an angle, at an angle. But make sure that when you turn this back, you don't have any gaps. So starting from there to here, and I'm going to sew with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'll be back. When you've done that, you're going to flip that second strip up. You can use an iron or just finger press, and then take your third strip and line it up with the edge of the second. Again, if you prefer an angle, you can do that. And now you're going to sew along there. And then you follow the same process until you have covered the whole piece of wadding. Here are the 2 finished panels, and I just decided to play around with a little subtle embroidery on that one. So have a little play around, experiment. Obviously you can use darker thread which would stand out more. You can use scissors, of course, if you like, but I think it's going to be really quick with the rotary cutter. So I'm going to cut the rest out, and I'm going to take some really dark forest green and stitch around the edges just to tuck those down. I finished stitching the outlines of the trees, and you can see here I went round twice, and I intentionally weaved in and out of the first line a little bit with the second, just to give it a sketched look. I also wanted to just let you know to be careful with all the points. If you stitch too close, when you turn the tree to change direction, the end might get sucked up into the sewing machine. So be mindful, and what I did was, as I came to the end, I did a little stitch in between, turning it all the way, and that did help. And using maybe a little pointy thing, you know, like a stiletto, that can help as well. I thought I would embroider some French knots, so I've just added a little knot at the back, and they will symbolise little baubles, I guess. Or little twinkly lights. Just randomly spacing them. This is my finished tree, and I've grabbed some sari silk ribbons and cut 2 little pieces, tiny scraps, and just overlaid them, and added some French knots in there as well. And now it's time to glue this tree to the card. I'm using Fabri-Tac glue, which is absolutely brilliant for fabric to paper gluing. I'll leave the link to it in the description below. And I'm just going to outline the tree a little bit. I think that just frames it nicely. If you have a set of letter stamps, you could actually stamp Merry Christmas on there, and I would recommend doing that on a separate piece of watercolour paper, and then you can just tear the edges to size, because if you make a mistake, you don't want to ruin the finished card. And then you can just glue the sentiment underneath. Other embellishment options would include, for example, these watercolours. They have a lot of pigment and beautiful glitter and shine to them. So you could just put some on your brush, tap it, and then you'll have some gold splatter. I would actually do that first before adding your tree on there. And another way to add some gold is to add gold leaf with this gilding paste, and I've actually already done a separate tutorial on that, which I will link above for you if you fancy having a go at that. I have made 2 cards with the French knots, so I thought I'd vary it with some embroidered stars for a 3rd card. So come up, and then that would be the center of your star, and you want 5 points going back into the middle. And they don't have to be absolutely perfect, they can just be a little bit wonky. I think that looks just fine. I'm going to vary them in size and just space them randomly across the tree. So I hope you enjoyed this quilted Christmas tree card tutorial, and I'm really grateful as always for your company. Happy creating and happy card making. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you again soon. Bye bye.